Hello students, this is a video which I have made for you to go through the topic of conferences which I gave you for self-study. As you know, we have writing 3 this week, and for that the topic given to you was conferences. So just to give you a quick overview of what these pages and what this topic is about, let me quickly go through these pages. I have underlined some of the important lines, some of the important phrases on this article, as you can see on the video when I will go through it with you in a while. You have 3 subtopics over here. The first over here, it is explained to you what are conferences, and then how to conduct conferences. And the third part of this article is different types of conferences. So let's begin with what are conferences first. Okay, so the article over here which I'm going to be overviewing is called Conferences, the Core of the Workshop, and it's by Harvey Daniels and Stephen Zemelman. Well, as you can see, I have highlighted for you already some of the key ideas on this article. The first sentence over here, it says, one of the reasons teachers set up workshop-style conference classroom is to make room for regular one-to-one conference with individual kids. What do you understand by one-to-one individual kids? Yes, it means one teacher and one student. Okay, that's the meaning of one-on-one. So that is what is the teacher does in a workshop-style classroom, where the teacher can set up several conferences with students one-on-one. It means she can have one classroom workshop in which she can have almost 5 to 10 conferences with individual students one at a time. I have underlined in green, if you can see, a research reference. This is Donald Graves, who shows, who had done a study, and in his study he shows that teacher-student conferences could be as short as 3 minutes and could be as far as 2 to 3 weeks apart, but they have shown surprisingly strong impact on students' learning. So even if the workshops are 2-3 minutes long, even if they are conducted, one today and one after 2 weeks, they still have a strong impact on student learning. Now, workshops, they provide a set of norm, a set of discipline, guideline by which teachers can hold brief individual conferences while other students work autonomously for extended periods of time. So while I'm having a conference with one student, in a class, in my workshop classroom, the other students can be engaged in some task on their own. These sessions can be 45 minutes or an hour a day. So she can have the classroom workshops for about 45 minutes to 1 hour a day, in which she can schedule several individual one-on-one conferences with the students. These conferences, they swap the low-intensity impact of whole class instruction for brief but powerful individual lesson. Swapping means changing. So the workshop classroom in which the teacher has a one-on-one conference basically swaps, it changes the low intensity, the low impact of whole class instruction, which does not have a very strong impact on student learning compared to the individual one-on-one conference which the teacher has with the student. And this seems to have a great impact on their learning. So these workshops, they facilitate individualization. Of course, as I said, they give the teacher a chance to have individual understanding of several students. Students are more comfortable and self-disclosing in private conversation than in whole class setting. So it is found that students generally find the one-on-one communication with teacher very motivating, and they feel more confident, they can open up, they can relax, and they can actually share what their problems and what their issues are and get the guidance from the teacher. So many kids open up in the conferences. Open up means they are more relaxed and they speak more freely. Conferences do uniquely provide a chance for teachers to take on some very different roles. So what kind of role do you think does the teacher play in a conference? Is she still a controller? Is she still the one who transmits information, or who is the center of the communication? Certainly not, because she plays the role of a model, a mentor, and a coach. So the ultimate value of conference lies not just in what goes on during any one 3-minute session, but in what develops over a recurrent series of meetings between a teacher and a learner. It means the value of a conference is not just in one meeting, but it is the value of the conference is established by several meetings which a teacher conducts consistently over a period of time. Now, when I say several meetings, it doesn't mean that she has to meet every day, but it could be she's meeting today and she can have a conference maybe next week, or maybe after 2 weeks. Depends how is the situation with the students, how weak are they, and how many problems are they having, for which she needs to have a conference with them. Conferences are private demonstrations of how to think, how to run your brain, how to monitor your work, how to evaluate your products, how to sustain your efforts. So these are the skills which the teacher is basically going to teach the students in the conference, that how should they monitor their work, how should they evaluate, how should they assess, how should they overcome their own problems by thinking about them and finding their own solutions. In the best of conferences, the teacher does not step in to solve the students' problems or make their decisions, but guides them to decide for themselves. So the teacher does not give them solutions, but she guides them to find solutions for their own problems. So conferences help students internalize that vital cognitive habit of shifting gears from production to reflection, from immersion to distancing, and from doing to assessing. So they have to the students have to change the way they work. They don't have to be doing things, but they have to be assessing and monitoring what they have done already. And they don't have to be, again, doing something, but they have to be reflecting on what they have done in terms of finding out how they can do it better and how they can improve and correct the mistakes which they have done on them. And the key to this cognitive coaching is not just advice or information given by the teachers, but the teacher's presence, patience, and consistency in accompanying students through the process. So again, what is important is the teacher has to be present in the conference. She has to be patient. It means she doesn't have to talk so much. She has to give the students a chance to talk and to share whatever their difficulties are. And again, have consistency, not having one conference and then another after 3 months, but regular conferences spaced up, maybe after 1 week regularly, or maybe after 2 weeks regularly, depending on, again, the nature of the students' difficulties. So that was what conferences are. That is what we discussed just now. Let's go on to the next topic in this article, conducting conferences. That is, how do you conduct conferences? There are certain basics which you need to understand as a teacher, which are the ways of conducting a conference. So we will talk about some mechanics of conferencing. Before you start the conference, explain so students know what to expect and they come prepared. So this is very important. Before you start scheduling the conferences, have a general class and explain to the whole class that what is a conference and what does she expect them to do in the conference. What will she as a teacher be doing in the conference? What will be her role? What will be the student's role? And how does she want them to come prepared? Maybe she wants them to bring some a task which they have done on which they have difficulty. Maybe she wants them to come and do something in the class on which they need her help, or maybe they have to choose a topic for a project, so she can tell them to, that they can have a conference on that, and they will together, be thinking of different topics and choosing a topic for their project. So she has to tell them beforehand what is the conference so that they come prepared for it and there is no time waste. Next, she should focus on a single topic or task. Again, don't tell them to bring all your difficulties. So the student comes in with the difficulties in math, science, geography, history, and English. No, you must handle one problem at a time. So they can bring only one problem or one assignment or one aspect in which they have difficulty. But yes, of course, in a class, if she's having 6 conferences in one period, each student can bring a different task. Somebody can bring a difficulty in math, somebody can bring in science, somebody can bring in geography, or another one can bring a problem in language. But one student should not bring more than one difficulty or more than one topic to discuss with the teacher. So conferences are real back and forth talk. Back and forth means it's not just one person who's talking all the time. It's not like an interview of the student where the student only talks. In between, the teacher can ask questions which are guiding the student into thinking, into improving, into finding solutions to their problems. And this is why it is back and forth. So it's a communication between both the teacher and the student. But yet, the student does more talking than the teacher. So let's see what is the next next step. Not step, but what else does teacher have to keep in mind when she conducts a conference? A neutral space, which means where does she have a conference with the student? Do not have a conference in one space within the class at all times. It can be monotonous, it can be boring, it can be challenging, maybe, have a variety. Maybe you can choose in the middle of the class, maybe you can have at the back of the class, or maybe call the student at your table, but you could have them sit next to you, and you can together take the student assignment, have the student sit next to you and discuss the assignment with the student. So this is what means by neutral spot, not the teacher's spot or the student's spot, but somewhere in the middle of the class or at the back, or maybe it can be at the teacher's table but on the same side. That's what the next point is about. Sit on the same side of the table. So do not sit across at the teacher's table. Make them sit next to you. Ask questions and help students talk rather than just studying what's on the desk and giving a comment. So let them, let them talk. Let them give their own feedback. Let them give more comments on their work than the teacher giving the comments all the time. Ask students ask questions that help students see where they are in their work and how they might proceed. Ask them questions which will help them find out their own answers, how they could have done it differently. Then conference should encourage students not to just prove that they should encourage students and not just prove that the teacher is smarter. Again, the purpose of conference is to make the students feel more confident and make them find answers to their problem. It is not to make the teacher feel more smart and to teacher feel that she knows more than the students. Okay. Next topic is different types of conferences, and I think I'm going to do a next video, which is part 2, because this video is going to finish up in next 12 minute. So I will discontinue here, I will stop here, and I'm going to continue in the next video. I will talk about the basic types of conferences. All right, thank you. I hope you're understanding what we are discussing in this article. Bye bye.